Coming up in this episode of the KickCast, an all-in-one cutting board, a time-traveling gift box, and a way to make sure your garage is closed. So sit back and relax. It's time for the KickCast. Hey everybody, it is time for another episode of the KickCast, and as always, I am Ktdata, and joining me is one of the coolest guys in the world, Drew. How are you doing today, Drew?
At least for tonight, I'm pretty cool.
Oh, you're always cool. That's why I'm always like, we need to get more Drew.
Here's your weekly dose of Drew. Yeah, glad to be here, man.
All right, guys. So if you guys have never seen the KickCast before, what Drew and I do is we scour the interwebs, all these crowdfunding sites, IndieGoGo, Kickstarter, GoFundMe. We try to find the most unique, the coolest, most helpful projects out in the world, and we distill them down to 3, and we will let you know if you should back, track, or sack them. Right before we kind of jump into that, let's go into some news, and before the snowstorm kills us all. IndieGoGo yesterday decided to make an announcement, and they are introducing something called IndieGoGo Playbook. And this is kind of similar to Kickstarter School, where they're actually going to be taking over, let's see, how many projects do they have? 150,000 campaigns, mining it for data and distilling down the best practices down so people can get ideas on what to do and make their projects more successful. And they're also launching something called the Global Crowdfunding Resource Network, which is a thing to get people connected to consultants, marketing people, manager people. They weren't really specific on it. So I could see that becoming a wide range of things. You could, talk to a video game programmer who's working in the industry to give you hints. You could talk to, marketing people to get out your project out. There's a lot of potential for that.
People like you and me, how to get your crowdfunding up and going.
I need to apply us to that.
Yes.
But what's super interesting about this is that I think this is interesting for IndieGoGo because no longer are they like Kickstarter where it's just a crowdfunding platform where you list your project. They're almost becoming this place where you can go and get the complete package. They can help you groom your project so it's really successful. I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the year they announce, next year. This year's almost over. Next year, some kind of fulfillment center or at least be talking to a company or something like that, because I think some of the advisors could be fulfillment experts. I mean, like one of the coolest guys I know is Sales Geek, because he knows logistics and he knows Kickstarter projects. So he's great when it comes to knowing what you need to do to fulfill projects and stuff. So
I'm interested to see what they do with that.
And I don't know how much they're going to charge for it, but it's another place where they can get revenue and everything. So I think it's a good push for IndieGoGo and a good way to kind of differentiate them from everybody else, since everybody compares the two, but you really can't tell what's the difference between the two. And this would be definitely something that would change that.
Good move.
I don't know. Like, what do you think? Is it a good or a bad idea that IndieGoGo is kind of?
I think it's a good move. I think that just having a plan like this, especially where you've got that much data for the playbook side of things, to be able to mine that and come up with these best practices, checking metrics. I mean, there's a lot of good that can come from that for people looking to launch. Here's what works. Surprise. Well, I guess we've covered some in the news of people that have done that overall. Making that information available. So it's nice to see the crowdsourcing site itself.
Yeah. And so since they're introducing this global crowdfunding resource network, Drew, I decided let's make this episode our demo reel. So
this is it.
I was like, let's take a crowdfunding project, deconstruct it, and say why it wasn't successful.
Which in the spirit of what you could have done better. This is the constructive.
Yeah, constructive criticism. It's not like we're saying the idea is bad or anything. It's how can you present your project a little bit better to make it more interesting. And the reason why I got this idea was I found this article on Forbes that was actually talking about.
You read Forbes?
Sometimes.
Wow. I spend all my time on cracked.com.
Well, it's better than BuzzFeed and listifying the whole world. But there's this lady posted an article on how her project wasn't successful and tips on what people should consider. And I was looking through these tips. I'm like, this is the same stuff Drew and I have been telling you guys for the past year now. And so I decided, let's go take a look at her project page and see why it wasn't too successful. So I pulled up her page, and it's called Dear Daisy May, the book. And apparently she's supposed to be one of those bloggers. I forgot what's the word, but like those Dear Susies or whatever, where you can send in a letter and she'll answer back.
Advice column.
Yeah, an advice column on there. So she has 14 backers, $585 with a goal of $20,000 and only 10 days ago. And she went for the whole month on here. And I broke it down. First thing, video is super, super important on there. Looking aside from, the audio being really bad, like really bad, I actually can forgive that if you don't make video for a living. We could just be overcritical about that, but the video is a 3-minute video, and for 2 of the minutes, they don't describe what the project is. They spend that time setting up the story behind everything, but they don't talk about it. So 2/3 of the video is nothing about really the project in general. I would say the ratio should be the other way around. Maybe spend the first. I wouldn't go beyond 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Before,
give it to us. Tell us exactly what it is you're doing. I'm making a book, and this is what it's going to be inside of.
Yeah, and then this is why I then go into the story. Because to be honest, I was watching it while prepping for the show, and I think I tuned out about a minute in. I'm like, I don't know what they're doing, but I'll just leave this running in the background while I type some stuff up.
And like you were saying, with the bad audio, or at least subpar, I think part of that just comes down to when you're putting together a Kickstarter, you're trying to present yourself as someone that can execute a plan, right? Here's a project I need your help with, but if you can't be bothered to take the steps to professionalize or to at least put your best face forward, I mean, something there I think strikes as like, okay, is he or she going to really be able to pull off this project if he obviously thought that he didn't? Maybe, and again, we're production guys, so maybe it's because I just think maybe they thought, oh, that's not important. When if they would have just even Craigslisted somebody and said, hey, somebody come over with a Facebook friend. I need a mic.
Yeah, and I mean this kind of stuff you can teach yourself, because I have my background in school is a science background. Drew actually went to school for this stuff. I learned about cells and everything.
Yeah,
but there are tons of tutorials. Even Drew's videos, they're amazing. Nuggets of truth and knowledge in there. Just
that's what we need. That's our Kickstarter consulting firm right there. It's a 10 series videos on how to make a decent video for Kickstarter. That's it. We'll sell that.
Yeah. So that was one of the things. And then the next thing that would really worry me if I was saying, should I give them my money for this project, is that everything seemed to be more on a conceptual level. It didn't seem like they had solid plans when you're reading through the description. I read through it. They're like, well, one of the drawbacks is finding a good, printer to do this. We think we have one, but, we're not quite sure, but this is a good set. There might be some delays and other things. It made you really feel unsure. And a lot of people now are a little bit more, if it was my money, I would want to kind of research and say, do these guys have a good plan? Are they ready to go? Are they ready to pull the trigger or not? And it was really vague. And then they didn't really have examples of the content you would find. The video had this voiceover part a little bit, but, you could tell she was talking like this right next to a mic, and she would bump the mic all the time too while she was talking. But that was like the only advice, at least give us a mock-up draft of what the book looks like. Because like if you didn't read it, it was only like 30. It's going to be a 32-page book. Give us a sketch or something that you have. Something a little bit more tangible than just, we have this idea for a book. And then this is the biggest one that I noticed. In their video, both of these guys touted that they're professional marketers. This lady's obviously got some clout because she's posting in Forbes, for one thing. I don't think I ever could get anything posted in Forbes on there. But I looked through their site. There was just, one side banner on there that had their Kickstarter on there. I looked on the Twitter account. I had to scroll back 2 or 3 days to see a mention of the Kickstarter project at all. And then scrolling farther back, nothing. And then I tried to go to their Facebook page. It's not a Facebook page. It's a profile. So you have to add them as a friend to even get updates from them. I don't know. Most people that I know are in marketing, these would be no-nos on there, because doesn't it take like 3 times the exposure just to get somebody to even notice an ad on here? Where I had to dig to find any information on this. So marketing, we've heard it time and time again. People we've interviewed, people we brought on the show, they've always been like, having a big following is important, and cultivating and getting them involved is important. I mean, you have firsthand experience about that, Drew. You had people lined up, ready to go, right?
Yep.
Is there anything else about this project that I might have missed?
I'm wondering here, just in this realm of what's been going on, I'm wondering if there's. It's almost like it was an afterthought. I don't know. It was almost like, hey, this is fun. What else should I do with the Dear Daisy May website that I have, the advice column for dog training and stuff. And it seems to me that somehow, and maybe she spells this out in the Forbes article, but it seems like almost like a half-cooked idea. It was like, okay, here's what I need for the project to be approved. Throw it up there, and then almost as an exercise, like somewhere at Forbes, she's like, hey, what if I do an article on crowdfunding and how to do it, and just kind of I wouldn't say she phoned it in, but almost intentionally was like, well, let's just let it coast and do what happens, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm going to write my article anyway. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, because it feels like it's not fully formed, like you were saying.
Yeah, because $20,000, that's a lot. That's a lot for a book.
And they're talking about she listed it off up the top there. Oh, layout artist, printer, great editor, that kind of thing. And yeah, exactly. 20,000 seems like a lot. I don't know what the first run was going to be, but it seems like a lot.
Yeah, that just and
I think you and I have said that a couple times on projects. Is think about your minimum viable project. Think about what it is that you can get by with. Can you make this thing happen with 5K? Because the chances are you could hit a smaller goal, and if the momentum is there, easy to go past that.
Yeah. Because it seems counterintuitive, but people tend to be more enthusiastic and willing to back a project that's already funded,
and that has a hope or a chance to get funded.
Yeah. So I guess that's our demo reel. So hopefully somebody will see that and like, hey, these guys know what they're talking about. Maybe I should hire them to consult.
We do know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
In fact, I did 2 other ones this week. The people that were looking for video work, and I just said, "Oh, well, I do this and this with Kickstarter." And they're like, "Really? Can we sit down?" So I did a little side consultings. Yeah. You'll see those projects.
Did you hand them an invoice?
I should have. I should have been like, "We can sit down, and I will tell you everything I know for a small fee."
Yeah. And then if you want to keep me, here's my retainer fee. All right, let's go into our first real project that we found. And so, Drew, I don't do a lot of the cooking thing, so you might know this a little bit better. But our first project is the Swiper, and what it is it's an all-in-one cutting board, almost kind of like those all-in-one computers, except
it scans and faxes.
I wish. But what it has is it has a cutting board. It has a squeegee on it, so you can kind of swipe off all the liquids and whatnot. And it has channels on the side, and the channels lead to the trash drawer. So there's 2 drawers under it. One is a drawer that actually stores a squeegee, or you can use it to store food that you've already chopped. The other side is for a trash container, so you can just move all those shells and whatnot into that and squeegee it into there. And then you can just pull the drawer out and throw that into, and just empty everything out into the garbage. I know that people usually have like a garbage bowl or something next to them while they're chopping up. I learned that from Rachel Ray. So this kind of just puts everything into more a compact thing, and it also has a knife sharpener, which I love. There's one of the edges has a metal strip on there that you can use to sharpen your knife. And it's about 15 by 10, so I think that's sizable enough for a normal chopping board. And I just love the compactness, how you can keep things organized, and it looks great to me. But I don't know. As a person who actually understands the culinary arts, can I get your input on that? I barely can boil water.
I'm looking up to the and it comes in colors.
Yeah. Who doesn't love colors?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if your kitchen's themed or anything, and as often as I've found in my many opportunities that I have to host parties, that you're cutting vegetables for vegetable trays, and you're cutting things right up until the time people are coming through the door. So it's you're often having that cutting board out. I have 4 colored cutting boards that are kind of the silicone mats, and you're supposed to like be like, okay, this is meat, this is vegetables, this is fish. It never happens like that. In fact, the red one gets pulled out all the time because the kids use it as a flying carpet. Um, this is an interesting idea. I love the all-in-oneness. They're saying they've updated the knife sharpening because all I've seen there is kind of a whetstone that's built into the side.
Yeah.
They have next to the picture they say we've updated this. It's not the same as picture, but having a knife sharpener right on the board would be nice. I sharpen my knives before I use them every time, and so if I were to just pull out the swiper, be able to get my knife ready to go and then do some shifting out, I'm digging this. I really am digging this idea.
Yeah, and the swiper even has a chopper in the handle. So if you pull the handle apart, there's a little chopper thing that you can use. So if you can't find your knife, that works out real nice too. So that's what I love about it is they've kind of planned everything out because
Yeah, look at my stunned face because I couldn't figure out from that picture because I was trying to look at the picture and I hadn't read it thoroughly, but that's what that is.
yeah,
Brilliant. And
I,
25 bucks a piece, or granted we're not talking about pre-sales, but that level is definitely one that I could see working very well.
yeah. So I think it's a great idea on there. But hey, I don't cook that often, so that's why I needed. I'm like, who do I know that cooks often? Oh, Drew.
I am I don't know if I do it often, but I enjoy it. Anytime my wife's cooking, I'm like, "Hey, honey, can I help you with anything?" And she'll be like, "Grate some cheese." Oh, okay. No, we love to cook, and we eat really well at my house. Really, I say really well. I should say really healthily. My kids don't eat as healthy as I do because they look at it. And, oh, tomatoes. But I would. This is definitely a back for me.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic idea. I love the all-in-one idea. Wow. It's about time. It's about time somebody made that more functional.
Yeah, it's a back for me too, and I'm like, I think I might get one of these, and I just found my Mother's Day present because by the time it's out, it's ready to go. So that's a back from me on there. And that is the sweeper. So speaking of presents, Drew, our next project goes along that line. So tell everybody about the timeless box.
The timeless box. Well, step 1, get a box. Step 2, cut a hole. No, the timeless box is this idea that you can set up a gift for somebody and basically put in a box with a countdown, and whether it's 10 days, 100 days, 30, whatever. You set the time, and you lock the box. And once you close that lid and you put something inside of it, so a gift or something that maybe I don't know, like I could imagine like Linus and Lucy having Linus like take his blanket and put it in there, lock it up, and be like, "You got 10 days, buddy. Sorry."
That's cruel. That's cruel.
Or maybe your kids screw up and you take their Disney Infinity characters and put them in there and be like, "But this one's in timeout for 2 days," and there's nothing they can do. Anyway,
are you sure your wife wouldn't do that for you, Drew? And then you'd be like,
PlayStation
crap.
controllers. She would put them in there. Sorry, you're programmed. No, but the idea is that you've got something that you can lock and put away, and maybe it's money, maybe it's a credit card, something you just can't get to until that timer goes off. So it's like a 7-Eleven safe that's only going to open at a certain time. So I really like the idea. They call it time travel for gifts, meaning you put it in there, lock it up, and that person or yourself will be able to even touch it until the time. They've got all kinds of boxes. There's limited edition titanium. There's one that will go up to 10 years of usage, meaning like you can set that alarm to be 10 years from now. I'm not sure what would last that long. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's where I'll write my will.
You're like, that's kind of sad, Drew. If you're only gonna think you're gonna last 10 years,
I'll be gone in 10. I think it's just fun. It's a fun idea, and while it's it's back. You got to back it with euros. I don't have any euros, but it's about, what do we decide, about $100? for the timeless box in
Yeah,
the
it's about
US.
105 with exchange rate, give or take, depending on our US dollar on there. Rev's got a good idea. Put a Twinkie in it. That'll
And see if it lives.
fly that.
See if it lives. I don't know. There's regiftable after changing batteries. I wonder what that means. Regiftable after
Oh, so
batteries.
you probably can short it out by taking out the batteries, because that's my only downside to this box.
Ah,
Is anything past a month, I'm gonna one forget what's inside of the box, two forget about the box, and
yeah.
three spend like 2 months wondering where in the world did I put that thing, and
And then realize.
then like the box will go off and like ah.
Oh, interesting. I love the idea. I think so. For me, it was kind of like, and they really push. It's probably because it's euros, but they really push the emotional side of it. Like, hey, wouldn't this be neat to be able to tuck something away and give it to somebody and let that kind of click. Oh, so they really push the emotional side in the video. And to me, it was just like more like neat science fiction, kind of like ooh, a time travels
Ooh,
ish.
time
Yeah.
capsule.
Yep.
Um,
That's a time capsule. Yep.
yeah,
So it's a track for me. It's totally a track for me. I think. I love the idea. I'm not sure I'm gonna get an overseas shipment for $100 plus, but I love the idea.
yeah, like for me, it's a track too, just because my memory's so bad. Like, let's be honest, I'm not even if I don't post this show up on the internet, I wouldn't even remember it happened in about 3 days. Uh,
Glad to know I care. I mean that much to you. Yeah,
it's, it's just my brain cells, Drew. It just go,
okay.
because that's what I do now. When I was your age, I had to use a phone line to get on the internet. That,
I had to hear dial up every time I was there.
so that's the kind of thing, and like I said, it's a cool idea, and I love them having the multiple stuff like titanium. Who doesn't love titanium on there?
Pretty cool.
And so
That's all I got.
so that is the timeless box. And talking about things that I forget that I fear, I don't think I've ever done this. Oh crap, I don't have any wood. Knock on wood. Um, but I've always feared that I'll leave the house and then I will totally forget to close the garage. Like, you should honestly see me when I pull out of my driveway. I like turn around and check 3 times before I drive off to make sure the garage is fully closed and everything. And this our next project would actually stop me from worrying so much, and it is called the garage border control on there. And oops, that's not the right one. And what it does is it's actually a sensor that sits on the rails of the wheel, the roller wheels that you have on your garage, and it uses an IR sensor to kind of detect if the garage is open or not. And if it detects the garage is open, it has a timer. You can set it up to 15 minutes. And once the time passes, it will close the garage for you. And you can there's like overrides. And what's interesting about this is that they say it's fully compatible. They haven't found a garage door system that it hasn't worked with. So I'm kind of interested in how that works. But you can actually there's no extra remote or anything because it taps into your garage door button thingy mabobber. So to actually program it, you like hold it down for as long as you want, and then it will program it into the system and detect that.
Just like any other like
Yeah,
attachment to it.
yeah. It doesn't, and they say it doesn't interfere with your IR sensors or your motion detectors that are in garage doors and stuff. So my only thing is that I'm not sure how they you install it, and I can't say I'm the greatest at doing home type things like this, tinkering. It's kind of weird, right? Like, I know how to use a computer and tinker with that, but I don't know if I trust myself too much, and I might damage something on there. So that's the only like con that I've seen, is that there's no instructions on how to install this thing. So I don't know how complicated it is or how simple it is to do. And I personally would be afraid to screw up my garage door opener. And to be honest, I don't know. Do you ever have this problem, or am I just one of the few who just worries?
I think I have the same fear, that I'm going to leave the garage door open and somebody's going to be able to come in, because that is like one of the locking mechanisms to keep people out of the house. Lock the garage door. I don't have to lock like when I sleep, I lock the one downstairs. So I have the same fear, and I think And my one question was like, okay, this is nice, but what about the days that I'm working in the garage and I pull the cars out and I start working every 15 minutes? I'm gonna have to go over and hit the button and put it
Well,
back up.
that's how.
But I just saw it.
Yeah, you can disable it using the button thingy. You do like
Just
a
hold it
long
down
press on there.
and be like, oh, hey, stay open for me. So I like the idea. I like the idea also because my kids hit the buttons. They fight over who gets to hit the buttons sometimes because it's that exciting. So to know that even if they did, let the door, leave it open for some reason, especially in the summer when they're playing with their bikes or whatnot, that it would basically close itself if they came inside and it was still up. I wouldn't have to worry. So I like the idea. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and I love the story he has behind there too. He actually puts it in the text that he actually invented this over maybe 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and he had a working prototype and everything, and I guess he uses it in his house. The only problem he had back then was that it didn't work with all makes of garage door openers. Fast forward 14 years later and whatnot, his kids graduated college and believe in this. So it's kind of like a father son project.
That's
They've been
pretty
working
cool.
together, redesigning, and they've gotten this far right now. Um, and what I love about this is, unlike the project we were critiquing on there, these guys have a plan. Like they even calculated in a delay for Chinese New Year's, which is a month into their
Because
plan.
they know who the
Yeah,
builder is. They
they're
know his
like, yeah. So you might not get this. So we're gonna push back the date. I wonder if the calendar's still here, or was it these guys? It might have been the wood block guys, but oh no,
This guy's a solid timeline
yeah.
for all
So
this
yeah, they
stuff.
have a solid timeline, and then they even show projections. So like we went back and talked. What is the minimum? What their goal is, the minimum they can do is to make 500 units, and they need $12,000 for that. So I like these guys have it planned out. They're ready to go, and obviously it's been working for 20 plus years, and they finally brought it to market on there. And this is a nice thing. The guy even mentions like one of the problems is I had no idea how to get this out into the market 14 years ago since Kickstarter wasn't around, and now we got this. This is a genius idea. Um, and like I totally I'm totally back for this one just because it seems like a great idea, and as long as the installation isn't too intensive, I think I can do it.
It doesn't look to be. I mean, it looks like they've done all the intense stuff, and the main thing you have to do is just kind of hack into a couple wires or so, if even that. I haven't looked through that, but no, it doesn't look. I don't think it looks that hard in
Yeah,
doing.
because there's only one wire coming out and there's two leads, so I think I
And
can do it. I think I can do it.
and and most systems you have like the same two wires that go from the two like remote eyes on the side, up into the actual controller and then down to the button on the wall. So it just seems like it'd be pretty easy to pull this in. I I back this one, especially that so you got a couple of early backing sets, batch one, batch two, batch one's gone. I could see this one totally funding, and I would love to be a part of it. I love the idea.
Yep, and I'm all in. So guess what, Drew? That was our last project of the night. It's kind of sad. Like
Uh,
I'm always
you want?
sad. I'm like
We
I
just
need more
start looking at a few
projects.
more. We just start doing like 3 hour sessions. Hey,
Yeah,
what about this
because
one?
everybody would definitely watch a 3 hour show, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but if you guys agree with me, Drew and I disagree, or you want to hire Drew and I for crowdfunding consultings, let us
Yeah.
know. KickCast at ktdata.net. We can talk. We,
Yes, in fact, somebody in the chat room, I think it was Reb, was saying that he would consult as well for half the price, but he only knows half the stuff. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, yes, do it.
yes, do it. There's competition, so we can say.
Well, either that or we have them join the team, and then it's like it's KT, Drew, and Rev. And if you pay, if you can only afford half of our rates, then Rev's got your project worked out for you. He'll
Yeah.
help you.
On there. Or you can always find us on Facebook, facebook.com/kickcast, on Twitter at kickcast, Google plus.kickcast.net, and
Pinterest, don't forget
yeah,
Pinterest.
Pinterest, iTunes, Stitcher. I think we're in the Microsoft thing if they still have podcasts. I don't even know if they still have podcasts or not.
They do. We're there.
On there. And because you can find us if you want to find us on iTunes. Just search for Kickstarter, and we're like the third podcast.
Yep.
I'm excited about that. And one programming note: since our next show would fall on Christmas Eve, right? we're going to do it a little bit earlier. So our next show is going to be the Saturday before it, December 21st, 2013. If you guys can come tune in on there, and make sure you guys bring presents for Drew's daughter.
Yes, that's her
And
birthday, and
so-
it's Christmas, and so you can bring a present for me. And we should find some themes. Some
Yeah,
holiday fun.
and then just bring me cake. So
Yeah.
cake or bacon, I'll take either on there. But you can find us at live.kickcast.net. We will be there. And other than that, Drew, am I missing anything?
I don't think so. We've covered yet another rousing rendition of the KickCast, and
All right.
it's been a joy.
It's been fun always. Like I get excited. So
Yes.
so we will see all of you guys in 2-ish weeks.
Yeah, a little less than 2. How exciting is that?
Yep. Bye.